Hey, what's up? It's Angel from Club Bilingue Toastmasters. Today we're going to start off with a little bit of a thought experiment. Now, I want you to imagine for a moment that you're giving a presentation and in the audience there's somebody that you want to impress, someone whose opinion you value more than anyone else in the audience. Now, if you're spending all of your time trying to impress this one person, what kind of value are you giving to the rest of the people in that audience? Are you devaluing them by giving too much value to this one person? Think about that. And I want you to ask yourself this question. When you're doing a presentation or a speech, who is that number one person? Who is the most important person in your audience? And if you're thinking that the most important person in your audience is out there, you're absolutely wrong. The most important person in your audience, the person that you have to pay attention to, whose opinion you have to listen to, is you. You are the audience of one. Now I want to explain this. If you're going out there to present and to give a message, and to try to make people happy or sad or motivated, doesn't matter what it is. If you're not listening to your inner voice for guidance, if you're not asking yourself, how do I feel about my presentation? How do I feel about my message? How do I feel about my delivery? And instead you're giving more value to everybody else, you're automatically devaluing your own opinion. You're saying that your opinion is not as valuable as the opinion of others. But think about this for a moment. If you cannot satisfy the audience of one, you can't make yourself happy with the presentation that you're giving, how are you going to make anybody else happy? If you don't feel inside that your opinion values more than anybody else, how are you going to impress anybody else? It's impossible. You can't do it. By trying to chase and chase and chase the outside opinion without taking care of yourself first, you're playing a loser's game. What I want you to do as a thought experiment is, for the next few days, think about the concept of the audience of one. Whether you're walking down the street, or whether you're giving a presentation, or whether you're doing any type of social interaction, say to yourself, what does the audience of one think about this? In other words, imagine that you're looking at yourself and you're asking yourself, hey self, what do you think about what I'm doing? Hey self, what do you think about this presentation? If your self says it's okay, guess what? It's okay. Keep going. It's almost like a form of enlightened selfishness or enlightened self-centeredness. But when in doubt, say to yourself, audience of one, audience of one. Then ask, what does the audience of one think about what I'm doing? Now, what you can do is, during the course of a day, just repeat the phrase, audience of one, audience of one, audience of one. Then during the presentation, before you start, just think, audience of one. What do I feel? Is it good enough for me? Well, guess what? It's good enough for everybody else. Because once you convince yourself that what you're doing is right, guess what? It transmits out to other people. Then, I want you to take a few moments to sit in a quiet place. Just take a few moments. It doesn't take a long time. And I want you to think about your core values. What really matters to you? The types of things about you that do not change. Because your core values define you. Remember this. Your core values, what's on the inside, is what defines you. It's not the clothes you wear. It's not the car that you drive. It's not your hair or lack thereof. It's nothing external. You are defined by that in your life which is unchanging. If you try to define a person or yourself by the clothes that you wear, and then the next day you change clothes, does that mean that you changed as a person? No. Think about your inner core values. Then, when you have interactions, social or presentation, judge yourself by how closely you're adhering to those core values. If you're adhering to your core values, you are in authenticity. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Feel good about it. Listen to the audience of one. But conversely, if you find that you're not in alignment with your core values, if you're doing things that are in violation of those core values, tell yourself, what does the audience of one do? What would I do? How do I feel about this, that I'm not in alignment with my core values? What can I do to become in authenticity instead of out of authenticity? Change it up. Be in your authenticity. And the only way to do that is A, know your values, and B, ask yourself, audience of one, what does the audience of one feel? What does the audience of one think? Always tell yourself and ask yourself. Because remember, if you don't love yourself and if you don't value your opinion highly enough, even going above and beyond the opinion of others, there is no way that you're going to be able to make that good impression that you want to make. Listen to the inner voice. The inner voice will guide you. And remember, for the next few days, experiment for yourself. Don't take it from me. Audience of one. Anytime you feel embarrassed or feeling that, wow, I shouldn't be doing this isn't me, audience of one, first, ask, does the audience of one approve? Cool. Next, am I in alignment with my core values? Yes? Cool. Go for it. And remember, stick with the program. Keep speaking. Never stop improving yourself. Never lose faith in the power of your dreams. And never lose faith that you can do it.